Never underestimate someone just because they look ordinary, because one day, the ordinary might destroy everything you thought you knew about strength. That lesson was carved into the minds of every single student who stood inside Master Sato's dojo the day a simple woman walked in and changed everything. The dojo was buzzing with energy that afternoon. Wooden floors gleamed under the light, the walls echoed with the sound of sharp kiais, battle cries, as students struck their pads. Black belts lined the front rows, their crisp uniforms symbolizing years of dedication and hard work. Pride hung heavy in the air. And then, the door opened. All heads turned. A woman walked in. Not a young athlete. Not someone with bulging muscles or a fierce gaze. She was plain, almost invisible. Her name was Maya, a woman in her mid-30s. Her black hair was tied in a loose bun, and she wore simple clothes, an old hoodie, faded jeans, and flat shoes. No martial arts GI. No belts. Just Maya. A murmur swept across the room. Who's that? Did she get lost? She doesn't belong here. Some students snickered, while others shook their heads dismissively. Maya clutched a small cloth bag and stepped forward. Her voice was gentle, barely above the chatter, but it carried. Excuse me. I'd like to join today's beginner class, if it's possible. Master Saito, a man of calm authority, studied her for a moment. His sharp eyes softened slightly, and he nodded. Of course. Everyone begins somewhere. But not everyone was so welcoming. Among the students stood Ryu, one of the dojo's brightest black belts. Tall, muscular, and arrogant, Ryu was the kind of fighter who craved attention. He had a reputation for showing off, belittling weaker students, and making sure everyone knew he was the best. He smirked as Maya bowed politely and shuffled to the back of the line. Seriously, he muttered loud enough for his friends to hear. She'll break her back trying to keep up. This isn't a knitting club. Laughter rippled. Maya's face remained calm, almost serene. She said nothing. The warm-ups began. Push-ups, stretches, basic stances. Most beginners struggled, groaning at the pace. But Maya? She moved with quiet precision. Her form wasn't flashy, but there was a strange smoothness to her movements, like her body had done this before. A few students noticed. Ryu did too, but instead of respect, he sneered. When the class shifted to striking drills, Maya copied carefully, her punches snapping forward, not with noise, but with efficiency. She didn't draw attention, but something about her calm control unsettled Master Saito. He watched closely. Ryu, on the other hand, slammed his kicks into the pads, his shouts echoing like thunder. Every strike was followed by a glance at Maya, as if daring her to compare herself. Finally, he grew restless. He dropped his pad, stepped forward, and raised his voice. Master, this is pointless. She's wasting everyone's time. If she wants to learn what martial arts really means, let me show her. The dojo went silent. Everyone's eyes turned to Maya. Master Saito hesitated. Ryu. But Maya bowed respectfully. If it helps, I don't mind. A collective gasp filled the room. Was she insane? Facing a black belt as a beginner? The students formed a circle around them. Ryu smirked, rolling his shoulders, his confidence radiating. Don't say I didn't warn you, lady. This isn't a place for tourists. Maya bowed again. Her eyes were calm, unreadable. The spar began. Ryu wasted no time. With a loud yell, he lunged forward with a fierce punch meant to intimidate, not injure. But before anyone could blink, Maya shifted. Just a subtle step to the side, her body flowing like water. Ryu's fist cut through empty air. And then, tap. With a flick of her wrist, she redirected his momentum, sending him stumbling forward. Gasps erupted. Ryu snarled, his pride stung. He spun with a roundhouse kick, fast and sharp. But Maya's body lowered gracefully, her hands sweeping upward. She caught his leg mid-swing, twisted, and, bam! Ryu crashed onto the wooden floor. 2 moves, whispered a stunned student. The dojo buzzed with disbelief. Ryu scrambled to his feet, his face red, his breathing heavy. This wasn't supposed to happen. He was a black belt, one of the best. There was no way a simple woman could. Aha! With rage clouding his judgment, he charged, unleashing a flurry of punches and kicks. His movements were strong but reckless. Maya stood still, her eyes locked, waiting. And then, snap! Her hand shot forward, seizing his wrist. With a perfectly timed twist and step, she locked his arm, forcing him face first to the ground. His body stiffened in pain, his strength useless. 3. The dojo fell silent. You could hear nothing but Ryu's ragged breathing and Maya's calm exhale. She released him gently, bowed, and stepped back. I came here to learn, she said softly. Not to prove anything. The students stood frozen. Even Master Sato's eyes glimmered with astonishment. Slowly, a smile tugged at his lips. Maya, he said with reverence, you've already taught us all something priceless today. That night, whispers about Maya filled the dojo. Who was she? How could she dismantle a black belt so effortlessly? But Maya never bragged. She trained quietly, repeating even the simplest drills with discipline. Over time, her story began to unfold in fragments. Years ago, Maya had studied martial arts under her father, a quiet man who believed in discipline over ego. But after his passing, she left the world of dojos and tournaments. Life had weighed her down, jobs, bills, loneliness. She looked simple because life had humbled her. But beneath that simplicity lived years of practice, buried under silence. She hadn't come to prove dominance. She had come to reconnect with the part of herself she thought she'd lost. Ryu, humiliated in front of everyone, didn't take it well. For days, he avoided eye contact, his arrogance wounded. But pride has a strange way of shifting when faced with undeniable truth. Little by little, Ryu began to watch Maya. He noticed how she bowed with respect to everyone, how she never mocked, never boasted, and how she always stayed late, practicing quietly when others had left. One evening, he approached her, his voice low. How did you do it? Maya smiled faintly. You were fighting to be seen. I was just moving to understand. When your ego leads, your body follows. That's why you lost. Those words struck Ryu deeper than any throw. Slowly, his arrogance gave way to humility. He began to train with her, learning not just techniques but the patience and humility she embodied. Months passed. The dojo changed. The students no longer judged newcomers by appearances. Respect grew, not for flashy moves, but for quiet discipline. And one day, during a sparring session, Master Saito addressed the entire class. Strength is not about muscle. Not about noise. True strength is humility. It's patience. It's control. And we owe that lesson to Maya. The dojo bowed to her. For once, Maya's calm mask cracked, and tears welled in her eyes. She had come only to reconnect with herself, but she ended up transforming everyone. The story of Maya teaches us one unshakable truth: never underestimate someone because of how they look. The quietest person in the room may hold the deepest strength. A simple woman walked into a dojo, was mocked by a black belt, and silenced the room in just 3 moves. But her real victory wasn't in defeating him. It was in teaching everyone, especially him, that humility is the highest form of strength.